Hey guys, it's Matthew Greenwood with my Fireside chat, and of course we've changed to new directions. So we're going to have an interesting night tonight, but I'll update you on that a little bit closer to it. So tonight we're coming live to you from Matthew Greenwood Spiritual Journeys and My Live TV. So tonight, as usual, don't forget to tell your friends and family what's happening tonight. And if you think that they're going to be interested, particularly in either asking questions to myself or Galactic Beings that are here with me, um, or if you want to ask that yourself, and it's really important to help build the energy up by asking questions. But also, um, tonight, what's going to be happening is I'm going to get interviewed. So I've got Adaire Palmer, who is behind the scenes, and without her, Fireside Chat wouldn't be happening. And she's going to be asking the questions tonight. So it's going to be an interesting night because normally I ask the questions. So now tonight, of course, besides asking questions, it's really important to get involved. And when you do ask questions, what you'll get the opportunity to do is to download the grounding exercise, the ultimate grounding exercise, which we'll be doing very soon. And of course, you are also up for possibly winning a half-hour spirit guide reading. So tonight's winner is Deb Raven. So, Deb, we're going to be contacting you, and you'll be getting the opportunity to book in a session with me. So I look forward to that. And just a few hellos to Kathy. Hey, Kathy. And Jasmine. Hey, Jasmine. Shauna. And Joanne Dyson. Hey, Joanne. All the way over in Perth. So what else tonight? I think that will do. So let's get happening with the grounding exercise, and we'll go from there. So just remember tonight with the grounding exercise, this is something I've put together over a long time, and this exercise is here to help you to stay stable, keep your energy stable through all of this stuff that's going on around us. Talking about control and manipulation that's happening to us, that degrounds people, that ungrounds people, and because it's putting fear and anxiety into people. So that grounding exercise is there to keep you stable, alert, and on top of things. So here we go. Hey, Christina, and hey, Mandarin. All right, so just sitting somewhere comfortable, closing your eyes, and to start with, just connecting with your breath. Nice, deep, full, long breaths, roughly about 4 seconds in and 4 seconds out. So nice, deep, full one in through the nose, and then a deep, full breath out, emptying through the mouth. Now, this breath is very important because it's not just about breathing in oxygen, it's actually about breathing in life force, which is a commodity we cannot do without. And this is so very important to us. Okay, so as that breath is pulling in life force, because it's a conscious breath and your focus is to pull in life force, now with that breath in, we're going to do something direct, very directive. So taking a nice deep full breath in again, and this time with the breath out, pushing it down through your body, your base chakra, your legs, your feet, and then down into the earth. And with every breath, keep having that same visualization going. just for a few breaths until you feel energy flowing or tingling in your feet, or maybe you're just aware enough to feel that flow of energy down through your feet into the earth. When you do feel that, you're connected with your base chakra. Not fully connected to the earth, but you are connected with your base chakra. So we're going to go deeper in a minute, just waiting a couple more breaths for everyone to catch up to that. So breathing in that nice clean life force that's all around you, and then pushing with the breath out, pushing that life force down through your body, base chakra, legs and feet, and down into the earth. Beautiful. So now that you have that, we have a string of chakras that go right down to the core of the earth. I think perhaps another night we'll have a talk about this. I think it'll be a great conversation. What we're going to do is go down to the deepest one, which is called your earth chakra, right down at the core of the earth. So taking another deep, full breath in, pulling in that life force, and this time with the breath out, pushing it right down to the core of the earth. Don't worry about distance. Energy moves instantly. So generally, when you feel that you've connected with that one, the recognition of that is more often than not an overall tingling or a sense of peace, calmness. Sometimes it's just a knowing. You just know when you're connected to it. And you have to trust that. Keep taking that deep, full breath in, and then with the breath out, pushing it right down to the core of the earth. Now, once you connect with that, you are connected to the earth at its deepest level. And this is where people feel incredibly stable, when they have that deep earth connection. And when you think about all the other people on the planet who are opening up spiritually, and there's a heck of a lot of them at the moment, they also have that connection to that earth chakra. And so when you have it, you're actually linking in with their energy. So then we can work as one with all of those other people that are connected at that deep earth chakra level. This is all about unity, uniting with all of these other spiritual people on the planet, not the separation that's being pushed at us at the moment. Fantastic. Okay, so now that you've got that deep earth connection, what I'd like you to do is just relax your breath. We're going to step it up a bit now. So grounding is there. Just imagine that flowing beautifully, and it will just open up naturally more and more as you do it more and more. So next thing is to raise our frequency. To do that, there's a part of our energy system called our core star energy, which is literally the God force within. So if you bring your awareness to the center of your body to start with, once you feel a connection to the center of your physical body, then I'd like you to dive deep into your energy system, knowing that you're far more than just physical. And within you is a whole universe of energy. It's incredibly expansive. So as you dive your awareness into that space inside of you, I'd like you to dive deep into the core of your energy within. At that central point within your energy system is a light or a high vibrational energy source. Now, when you see it, feel it, or sense it, you're connected to it. I'm just going to wait a few breaths just for you to do that. And then we're going to start to work with it. Great. So as you connect with that light, as you see it, sense it, or feel it, then what I'd like you to do is know that you're in the driver's seat, and just with an intention, I want you to begin to expand that light, that high vibrational energy out. Imagine it rushing out from that central point within you, expanding out through into your physical body to start with. Once you have that connection through to your physical, then knowing as you connect to your physical body, just feel an intention that you're connecting with every cell in your body. As you connect with every cell, just imagine every cell in your body raising in frequency. And then beginning to expand out beyond your physical body into an area about 3 to 4 meters out in all directions. As you connect with that, just keep filling that space around you until the point you just filling that up, and you just keep filling it, and it actually feels like it's being filled under pressure. And so as that happens, keep building it up, because we're going to explode it out in a minute. Keep building it up. All right, on the count of 3, I want you to just let that explode out in all directions, knowing that this is rushing through every part of your energy system. All right, when you're ready, 1, 2, and 3. Just let it explode out. No limitations, no boundaries. Our energy system is incredibly expansive. Far bigger than the books say, far bigger than most people can comprehend. It's limitless. We just have to start believing that. Beautiful. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, just for half a minute, a few seconds, just to feel that connection with that high vibrational energy. Excellent. Beautifully done. All right. So now, to finish off, let's finish off with how we started. So taking a few nice deep breaths in of life force. And then with the next deep breath in, pulling that life force in. And then with the breath out, push that life force down through your body again, your base chakra, your legs and your feet, and down into the earth. Excellent, very cool. You do not have to bring that light in either. You can leave it expanded out. So well done, guys. So I've just got a few more quick hellos. Hey, Kylie. Hey, Shelley. And we've got Belinda, Mary. G'day, Mary. Paul. Hey, bro. Paul several times. And we've got Annette. G'day, Annette. And Mary a couple more times. Cool, Mary. And Kate Fraser. Hey, Kate. Excellent. All right, here we go. So I'm going to be interviewed tonight. G'day, Alison. I'm going to be interviewed tonight by Adaire. And here's Adaire.
Ta-da! By the magic of television.
Magic.
How are you, Matthew?
I'm good. Very good.
It's been a while since we've been on live together.
I know. We started off this way, didn't we?
It has been an absolute pleasure to be,
18 months ago, I think. No more.
It has. Yes, it's more than 18 months now. And it has been, like I said, a pleasure to be behind the scenes with you. I started off live and then went behind the scenes at the beginning of this year. And now just special shout out to Shiley Fox, who was going to be the interviewer,
Yes.
and then realised she did have another appointment, a conflicting appointment. So I stepped in, and I'm sure Shiley will be back at some other time when she's available. Because Matthew, I wanted to ask you, when you floated this idea, and I think it's great. So we just explain a little bit about the new directions. Being completely new directions in terms of having people on that have specialist expertise and knowledge in particular areas.
Okay.
Including you.
Including me. Yeah, well, one of the things I could see happening around us was the amount of separation that was going on between people with all of this COVID stuff that's been happening. And, you know, there was the to vax and not to vax camps that was getting really so over the top on Facebook. And it was separating people. And I thought we need to get back to an understanding of where we're heading, not where we are at the moment. Where we're heading is a deeper level of community. That's coming as things start to fall apart around us with these multinationals and corporations, banking systems, governments. That's another story. But once that starts to fall apart, we need to start to learn to work together. And there are many people out there that are already doing amazing things. And over the last 32 years, I've met many of these people, and it's time to bring an awareness to everyone exactly what is going on out there. Anything alternative to do with community, alternative ways of living, health, all of that. So I've got the plan is to bring many people on board that we can interview. But also I thought, as I'm doing this, I'm not getting to say much at all except interviewing. So I thought it was time for me to come back on board. And I thought, well, here's an opportunity for people, listeners if, to interview me about different things, because there's so many different spiritual aspects to this work. And, it's been reminded of me just how much I know that I take sometimes a bit for granted. And I think it's great for someone else to ask me questions rather than me talk about what I know, because I get reminded that some of the things I do take for granted people really want to know. And so sometimes I think it's better to come from them. So there's going to be an opportunity ongoing, probably once a month, to interview me about stuff, and we'll bring the subject up, and
I think that's wonderful. So anybody who'd like to put up their hand and have a chat with Matthew about interviewing him, I'm sure we're happy to talk to people. And as a producer, obviously, I can do a little whisper in your shell, like, so it's not you're not coming in cold. But tonight we're talking about galactic beings and the Galactic Alliance, and this is something that has long fascinated me. And I have to be honest, Matthew, before I met you, I really knew very little about it. Now, I thought, the galactic beings, I'd called them, extraterrestrials, and we all know the normal, not the normal, but the mainstream premise of what these beings are. And what I would like to talk to you about tonight is around things like your experiences with them and how you came to be, I would say, maybe a human being. Just tell me if I'm out of line here. A human expert on galactic beings. No, I'm out of line. I can hear that. Well, in terms of teaching us how we can also become our own experts.
Definitely.
But first, I'd like to say, I do have a question for you, but first I'd like to say I'm just popping into the comments thread here, is a guest link, and what we're doing is opening it up completely. And if you would like to, we'd love to invite your questions, as Matthew always does, because the questions in the comments always are fascinating. And always, if you want to type them into the comments, please do that, and Matthew will address them. And also, if you would like to jump in and have a chat with him face to face about this, then he's more than welcome. This is opening it up even a step further. So
cool, I'm ready.
There you have it.
I think.
So what I'd like to start with, Matthew, and we can keep an eye on the comments, and you can address any questions that come up, as you can just let me know that you're going to address them as well. But I'd like to understand a bit more about how galactic beings came into your awareness. How long ago, and what sort of things happened that made you think, oh wow, there's more out there than just us?
Yeah, well, okay, so when it all began for me was probably about 2.5 years into me getting into spirituality, which would have been about 30 years ago. What occurred was I'd been doing very basic stuff, learning to meditate, how to work with energy. And a couple of people at a development group that I was at invited me up to a particular place in Adelaide at night to go take a blanket up there and look up at the stars and do an open eye meditation to the stars, hoping for something incredible to happen. And look, I always like to throw myself into all kinds of things. You know, I'm not one to hold back and go into fear or anything, because I think this whole world of spirituality is incredible. So I thought, why not? You know, we'll have a few laughs at the best. And so I just went up there with no expectations, which is a huge thing, I found out later on. So we went up, I lay down on a blanket and looked up at the stars, and we were giggling and kicking ourselves about different things that maybe we'd get picked up and taken away. That didn't happen. Well, or did it? So what happened, I was looking up at the stars. Everyone had sort of calmed down and stopped talking. And I looked up at an area maybe about the size of a plate, a small plate. And as I'm looking up, all of the sky in that area it looked like it was on a piece of paper, and the sky was actually like this, except I'm underneath looking up, and it just looked like it had been folded. And later on, I realized that I was looking into a vortex of energy or a portal. I didn't know that at the time. So I'm just focusing on this area, and then all of a sudden I was gone. Maybe my physical body was there on the ground next to the guys, but I was transported energetically onto a craft. And honestly, that was the last thing I was expecting. And so I was basically given a little bit of a tour around this one particular craft, and then a second, and then a third, and then a fourth. And, you know, look, I'm always inquisitive. I always ask questions. And so I'm asking, number one, why are you showing me this? And what's this all about? And they started to talk to me about and this is back then, they were calling themselves the Galactic Federation. And there's a reason why that's changed, and I'll get to that probably later, I think. But back then, 30 years ago, they were called the Galactic Federation. And so it was a group of beings. This is a very long story, but I'm actually going to cut it right down because it's quite huge. This is like a rabbit warren of conversation. But basically, they've been watching us, observing us for millions of years, generation after generation of each one of those species that are on board the craft that I was witness to. And they've been watching our development. What 30 years ago, the best they could tell me was that they're here to help us, but they have, I guess you could say, an agenda. They can't do too much to help us, but they are definitely observing us. But in the future, there would be more connection. Now, where I was at back then, I was really connecting with guides. I was getting on with my healing work, and it really interested me, but I couldn't, how can I put it? I couldn't see the bigger benefit for me at the time. I wanted to help people, and at the time, I thought it was really interesting, and I did get a little bit of help from a couple of beings at different times, but mostly I separated myself from that. I even had a being try to jump in and wanted me to channel him. I was sitting in a chair, and this is at a later date, but it wasn't that long after this, and I felt a vortex of energy around me. Now, back then, our energy was a lot lower vibration than it is now. And so for them to actually come through into us so that we can channel them in the old style of way, where you just sort of sit there and words just start to come out of your mouth. What they had to do, they had to get through a heavy energy to get to us. And so I felt like someone had their finger on the top of my aura, and they just spun me like a top. And it was actually quite distracting. And first up, I just clenched my energy, which made it worse. And then I began to relax with it, and it calmed down. And he started talking to me, and he actually started talking through me. Fortunately, I had someone there to help me with that. And but that was kind of the last experience. Then jump to about 18 years ago. Yeah, maybe about 18 years ago. And they came in with a real rush, because they were preparing me for what was coming, which was about 12 years ago, when a raising in frequency began, which we're feeling that now, which is that raising in frequency is not just within individuals, it's within the whole planet and every being on the planet, not just people, and within this part of this actual part of the universe. And so with that, what that's creating is a lot of spiritual growth for people that are open to it. It's a lot of people that are fighting it are having a lot of difficulty. So, I've got clients that are psychologists and nurses and counselors, and they're all saying that depression is going through the roof, and also suicides are going through the roof. Now, this is all relating to that people that are fighting that raising in frequency. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say that I think there's two aspects there. One is about the galactic beings and where they hail from, and
sorry.
But what I'm hearing you say, Matthew, is that what would be, it's the impact on us as humans, and how like we're in a space right now, or we have been for the last however many years, where there's massive change, and I guess I'm interested, if I'm allowed to, sort of direct the conversation a little bit, but from an individual's perspective. So I want to reach out, and I would like to get some advice from a galactic being, or I'd like to get some guidance from a galactic being and tap into their wisdom. Am I able to do that as an individual?
Yes. It seems to happen more naturally for certain people, certain people that have been developing their skills, that have been in a habit of that. Also, people that are very grounded. That's a major part of this whole thing, is our energy needs to be really grounded, or I've seen people lose the plot with this. when they're trying to connect with galactic beings and they're not ready for it. And so, you know, that's an important part to have your energy system in a good place. That's why I push that grounding exercise so much. Because one of the things a lot of people don't realize is that to connect more on a spiritual level, to connect with guides or spirits or galactic beings, you need to be grounded. Otherwise, your energy system isn't stable enough to be able to, in a comfortable way, connect with them and have that communication coming through clearly. And the other thing is, a lot of people lose the ability to trust their feelings over years. Trusting your feelings is such an important part, because by not trusting our feelings, we minimize our ability to connect with anything. It can be pets, it can be plants, it can be guides, spirits, galactic beings. I'm actually going to run a workshop very soon on communication with guides and galactic beings.
So what's the difference? Can a galactic being show up as a guide?
Okay, a good question. What I've noticed, and this has come through having conversations with them, they've told me, but they've been observing us on many levels, and particularly how we connect with guides, because they've watched our frequency. So to them, frequency is an incredibly important part of communication, and they've learnt that we communicate with our guides on a particular frequency. So when we can do that, then we have the capability to connect with galactic beings, because they've learnt to use the same frequency to come in to our energy on the same frequency as guides do. And so that's how they at this point choose to communicate with us. Until the time comes, which isn't too far away, when they start approaching individuals face to face in a safe situation, and where they will communicate basically face to face. But the interesting thing with that is not all galactic beings can speak our language. So it's really important that we learn how to communicate on this higher level first, so that we can understand them when we are face to face.
So when we are, you know, if they're communicating with us as we communicate with our spirit guides, and we, how do we know that they're the real deal? Like, are there galactic beings that come to us for nefarious means as well?
Most definitely. Look, one of the big things that's been going on for as long as I've been doing this work, and a long time before that, is reptilian beings have been high on the list of negative beings that have been coming in and having a huge effect. Basically, they're like any negative being that's coming in to affect us is it's all it wants to do is manipulate our energy, and it feeds off that fear and anxiety that's created by that manipulation. So again, one of the most important things is to be grounded and is to trust your feelings, because you will know if you're grounded, and if you do have the ability to trust your feelings, you will know if it's good or bad. There's a particular energy that is felt very easily when you trust your feelings. The problem is, if you throw yourself into things that you're not ready for too fast, then you're kind of open to manipulation by negative beings, because they can see that, you know, particularly if you're not grounded, when your energy is not grounded, it leaves you wide open to negative beings to step in, because it's, as soon as your base chakra has dropped, you're no longer stable and connected with Earth's energy. And
it's always about the base, Chuck. It's all about the base.
It is incredibly so. You know, I feel like a broken record sometimes, but it's so important for, you know, with spiritual growth to be grounded, because, and once people actually get that, yeah, they understand, because they can grow very quickly once they've learnt to be grounded.
Oh, I know. And then recently, for me personally, I've had to really focus on grounding. But that's not what we're here for tonight, Matthew. We've had several really good questions from the floor, from the audience here. What I want to do is, if you want to just have a look through and choose some of the questions that you might want to.
Yeah, probably the one of the last ones, which is Emma Gray. What is the intention of observing us? That's a really great question. So again, with not this can be a very long conversation, but I'll try to keep it short. So in essence, humans are a mixture of extraterrestrial beings or galactic beings. Without getting into the full story, which would take too long, and we've got lots of questions I know that are going to be coming through. We're a combination of that. No, we haven't known that. But one thing I know we do have is a lot of dormant DNA sitting within us. It's widely known. Experts, in inverted commas, say that we have a lot of rubbish DNA that's residue of the human evolutionary process. But it's not rubbish DNA, it's dormant DNA. Now, when this raising in frequency started, changes started to happen within us, which is a huge story. These galactic beings have been waiting for that to happen. Not just that, but they've been observing us, because the origins of why there were galactic beings here in the first place and why we're a product of that, alongside of when they were placed here, many different races were placed here millions of years ago. They interacted with a humanoid species that was already here. And of course, you know, generation after generation of mixing of DNA. Then down the track, we become a product of that, a mixture of DNA. And again, going back to frequency, the Earth was at a lower frequency than these galactic beings. And so generation after generation, those galactic beings, as we began to interact and evolve, their frequency began to drop down to the Earth's frequency, which is a standard thing that happens. Whatever planet you're on, that energy system, you then begin to interact with it, and you become that frequency. So as for millions of years, we've been, humans have been stabilized at that frequency. But 12, 13 years ago, a raising in frequency began, and this is one of the major things that these galactic beings have been looking forward to seeing, because this is about the evolutionary process taking the next step for humans, and spiritual growth really going through the roof, which it is. Even though all of this stuff is going on around us, the negative stuff is going on around us, it's really important to understand that not everything you hear is true, and there are still many people that are growing spiritually, and it's really important to know that not just are people growing spiritually, but negative and manipulative processes on the planet are falling apart, and the truth is being seen of what's going on. And so that's what they've been waiting for, and that's what they're excited about, is the fact that as we open up spiritually, the time is getting closer when they're going to be able to physically interact with us. And I've got to say, it is already beginning.
So with the saying that you're saying they're going to to show themselves to us when we're ready and we've raised our vibration. And if you don't mind, Matthew, I'd like to refer to a question that Alison's asked, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
She said, and I think this is related, with all the change, instead of growing, why have we become a minority, and how can we bring change as a minority? And my question to that is, and while we don't know for sure, but are we really a minority? That's
this is the truth. We aren't. I mean, well, okay. And this is coming from galactic beings who have been assessing the population of the planet for millions of years, and they can see how spiritual growth is going on the planet because they can see energy, life force. They can see our auras, they can check out our energy, and en masse, they can see on a consciousness level where spiritual growth is heading. Now, they've said to me that by 2025, at least 50% of the people on the planet will have in some way, shape or form a connection to spiritual growth, not religion, but spiritual growth. By 2023. I take that back. By 2023. By 2025, it will be upward of 65%. And a whole lot's going to change then. So, okay, it might seem like we're a minority, but believe me, from where I sit, from the last seeing how people act over the last 30 years, from when I first started to now, even I don't like putting people in a box, but what you would perceive to be the average human on the planet who doesn't go out and do meditation or anything like that specifically, many of those people are now asking questions they didn't ask before.
Yes.
Because they're looking deeper at life. And this is all about an elevation in frequency. It's a byproduct of that elevation in frequency that more and more people are looking deeper at life and at themselves. And this is what's growing. And the consciousness of humanity has gone from a certain level, which is mass human consciousness. Those that are growing spiritually, and this has only happened over the last few years, spiritual growth consciousness has grown beyond the consciousness, the mass consciousness of humanity. And so that's I guess you could say, a separate but growing level of consciousness on the planet now. Is that spiritual growth consciousness. So, and they're looking very closely at that, and they can see it, and they can observe to the point where, they can look at percentage of how humanity's going. So,
well, that's a great. I think that's it gives us hope.
Definitely
gives us hope because we if you know you're on the right path and you're grounding and you are in that space, you can hold fast, you can hold steady to what your
exactly
what your beliefs are. I'm just thinking there's some more wonderful questions here. Did you want to have a look through and pull them out? I do have some more of my own, but I thought maybe turn it over to the floor.
Yeah, no, please. I'm looking back. Oh, look, I can't help myself. Juliet has asked a question. Does the COVID vaccine affect dormant DNA? You're going to love this one. No.
There you go.
But the important thing is what... I hope I don't get shut down for this.
Well, it's the risk we take.
So what the COVID vaccine is about is shutting down our pineal gland, which is developing at an incredibly fast rate. Now, what happens when our pineal gland is the center of our spiritual and psychic abilities and growth. So what the vaccine is trying to do is to shut down our pineal gland so we don't grow spiritually. They've got Buckley's. It's not going to happen because they can't. No one can stop this raising in frequency that's happening on the planet. It's beyond any individuals or any group of people or beings. They can't affect that. This is something that's happening throughout the universe, this part of the universe, and it can't be stopped. So our growth is going to happen no matter what. All they're trying to do, all they're trying to do is slow us down. That's all.
And then, if you don't mind, Kate's asked, there's some locations better than others where we can attempt meditating, which are better for reaching galactic beings.
Yes, most definitely. So there's going to be a mass rush of people out to Mount Crawford Forest now. Mount Crawford Forest in the Adelaide Hills is one of the highest vibrational areas in the Adelaide region. The Flinders Ranges is too, but there's a reason why Mount Crawford Forest area is. It's a very high vibrational area because there's a high degree of crystalline energy throughout that area. Now, I'm fortunate enough to know a few people in the forestry, and I've been told that's why a lot of people are drawn to somewhere like Mount Crawford rather than, nothing wrong with Kaipo, it's a beautiful forest, but Mount Crawford does tend to have a high level of crystalline energy. And I've got to say, the whole Adelaide area has quartz crystal in huge deposits in certain areas. And I'm talking naturally formed clear quartz crystals that are faceted, just like the smaller ones you buy at a crystal shop, and but they're upward of 2 feet long, or 75 centimeters long in clusters, and they're found in different areas through the Adelaide Hills. So this is one of the best places. So I'd be suggesting for Adelaide. And just have to hold on a sec. I'm just, for some reason, my computer's dying. Don't want that to happen.
Well, I'm hearing it on the floor.
For some reason, my battery's. Anyway.
While you plug that in, I just was wondering about other places. I mean, obviously, I'm on a boat in Queensland, and for me, I mean, I would just, in the warmer weather, it's great to lay out on the top deck under the stars and just look up at the sky. You know, you get the sea around you, and would that make a difference if you're in a place or a space where you're grounded and you feel like you're at peace with the world?
Yeah, that would work too. I mean, anywhere out in the forest beyond where I suppose civilization is, where there are power lines, that kind of thing. Just let me slip away for a couple of seconds. I'm just going to check what's going on with my battery. Won't be a tick.
All right. So while Matthew does that, I'm just going to jump on and say, if you have any more questions, please do ask them. We are running out of time just a little bit, but they will definitely, he can pick those up in future conversations. Matthew will be doing at least once a month where he is talking to somebody about his experiences, and tonight he's talking to me, or I'm interviewing Matthew about galactic beings. So do add what you'd like for you to hear Matthew speak about, because he has got, as he said before, such a wealth of experience in such a wide range of topics. And if you could just pop down the topics that you'd like to hear about, and we can organise someone to bring you that information. And I'd say dig it out of Matthew, but it's not hard. He's very easy to talk to, and very easy to interview. So we've got, I was going to say, we have got time for another couple of questions, but I was just going to mention Diane is saying that when she feels the vibrations, it gets too noisy. It sounds like rumbling thunder, which is an interesting thing. Leads into a question that I have for you, Matthew. In that, is that something that if we're is it clairaudience or
clairaudience?
Clairaudience. Is that how we would pick it up, or is there different ways that would sense galactic beings or feel them, or you're saying they can come in as a part of our meditations as spirit guides, but there's different ways that we can perceive them?
Yes. So different. This is where it's really hard to say, put in a book as how to feel or how to know when a galactic being is there, because different people have different sensory abilities, and developed to different levels. So one of the biggest things is when you feel. So I guess the natural thing would be you'd be feeling a high frequency energy around you somewhere. And sometimes if they're directing energy to you per se, then what will happen, you'll feel their energy signature come in at a certain part in your body or around your body. And that can be like a tingling feeling, kind of when you're breathing in, when you're doing my grounding exercise, and you feel tingling around you or tingling at your feet, which is energy. That tingling feeling is basically your sensory abilities are picking up on a higher frequency of energy. And so that's one of the major ways to pick up on it. I mean, for some people, their hair stands on end and all kinds of things. But overall, probably the main thing that people would feel is a sort of tingly sort of energy around them. And that's generally the beginning point of feeling a high vibrational being around you. So that's, if that helps.
There are some really, really great comments coming up. And is it Tara Anna is saying any places in New Zealand, or like in Christchurch, the Perth area, and
yes, Perth. There's some great areas, particularly down. My memory banks. I mean, I've been to Perth so many times now, but it was a few years ago. Down below Byford area, if people know the Perth area, if you go down south of Byford, probably about 20 minutes south of Byford, there's some beautiful areas up in the mountains, up in the hills, to your left as you're going down the highway. I cannot remember what those areas are called, but that's beautiful energy up there. That's the sort of where you feel, if you like going out into nature and you feel this really beautiful connection with certain parts of the forest, they're generally the places those places that zing are the places that are of a high frequency, and they're quite often you find there are beings that come through there. There are literally portals. Because I know Mount Crawford area quite well, there's a lot of portal technology that's being used through the Adelaide Hills in that area, and they have an even higher frequency. But I was going to say, just when you are going back to that question that was asked ages ago, around how do you know if it's a good galactic being that's there or one that's a manipulating being, generally you'll feel a really high frequency coming into your space. So that tingling feeling again, is a feeling of high vibrational energy. If you feel something heavy when you're connecting with one of these beings, then I suppose use that as a warning sign, because it shouldn't be a heavy energy that you're connecting with. It shouldn't be like that. So hope that one helps. And in the New Zealand area, look, you could just about go anywhere in New Zealand. I think the energy over there is beautiful wherever you go. Maybe not in the centre of Wellington or or anything, but you know, it's just so beautiful throughout that area. There's a lot of national parks. Any national park, you'll find them. So yeah, I think nature is probably one of the best places, because that's where they go. That's where they interact with us in nature. That's where they set up a lot of their portal technology out through there. So
I think the chime has told us. It's don't think you hear that in the background. I have a question here from Nige, but I think we might leave it until next time, because it's
okay.
And there's some other questions here as well, so it'd be good to maybe collect them up, and then and then we can sort of maybe look at writing down some answers or answering them, having them pre-questions for another time, because like you said, this is a conversation that you can have, and there's so many different facets of it, and there's so many different ways that you can look at it. And I know in months previously you've done the Galactic Beings, and you've introduced us to them and where they come from and what their environment's like and their philosophies are like and where their perspectives lie in relation to us. And now this is more of a focus on how it impacts us as humans and how we can be open to the Galactic Beings' wisdom. So, but we are just about running out of time. So do you want me to wind it up and just say, well, Matthew, can you tell us what's coming up? And I'll just pop this.
All right. I'd love to say one more question, but no, that's okay. Let's see. I've got 3 major workshops happening coming up. I've got a drum making workshop, which unfortunately is full, on Sunday the 31st of October. But look, I didn't have that one booked in a few weeks ago. It's only through a lot of people really wanting to make a drum that I've created this one, and it filled up within about 10 days. So I am prepared to do another drum making workshop if people are interested in doing that. I've got a level 1 shamanism coming up on Saturday and Sunday, the 6th and 7th of November. And I have a level 2 shamanism coming up on 13th and 14th of November, which is a Saturday and Sunday. So, really looking forward to. I've only just done a level 1 shamanism the last weekend, which was a great one. And what I would like to do also for those people living in Adelaide, it would be great if you wanted to come on. And I'm going to give the date next week. If you want to come on a little bit of a journey into Mount Crawford Forest, we've done this once before. That was a year ago. When was that? A year ago,
That was it. Almost exactly a year ago when we were here from Queensland.
That's right.
And I'm saying here because I'm at my mum's. I'm not on my boat. That's obvious, but someone has mentioned that. But yes, it was last October.
Yeah. So I'm going to do that again. And we had almost 20 people there, I think. It was fantastic. Yeah. And so if there is anyone interested in coming for a little bit of a jaunt out to Mount Crawford Forest, it's not going to be expensive. And it'll probably be for about 2 or 3 hours. So, but I'll bring the details to you next Wednesday night. And it'll be all planned and set out then. And what I'll be doing is we can go for a bit of a meditation. I'll take you to where there are some portals, some portal technology that's open, and I'll explain a little bit about the beings that I've actually physically seen out there. And I'm talking physically, not with my third eye or not in my head or anything like this. We're talking physically. It's been quite amazing. So,
well, I can vouch for that in terms of somebody who has attended one of those walks, or the first one that you did, and if I were here when you did it in South Australia, I would be there again in a heartbeat, because it was fascinating, it was eye-opening, and it was just even the vibe of being there and feeling the energy of the forest, and you helping us tap into it. Was a really incredible experience. So I really encourage you to stay tuned. If you're in South Australia, stay tuned and do put up your hand. Matthew's number is down there.
Oh, so. Yep. Yeah, if you want to get in quick, you can ring me. But I haven't got a date yet together. So, but I'll have that together by next Wednesday. And look, it's not just the galactic portals we'll connect with. You know, they're not silly. They know when we're doing stuff like this, and they will be a part of it. I'm talking about galactic beings now. So you will feel their energy at some point. And we had people feeling that last time. So it's just a great experience, and it's a great place to go, and even just a great place to go anyway, as far as the forest goes. But the energy is very, very high frequency out there. It's beautiful. So
it is. It is.
So thank you, Adaire, for interviewing me. I actually enjoyed it. And thanks, guys, for and thanks everyone for the great questions too. And it was a great night. I feel like it went for about 15 minutes.
There's always more to talk about, isn't there? So come back next week and the week after and the week after, and Matthew will bring you more great stuff. And please do put in the comments if you would like to learn about anything, or if you want to jump in as an interviewer. He's probably going, what are you doing there? No. Or if you want to come in as a guest and ask your questions, that's something that we're looking at doing as well. So so we'll open it up so we can actually all have a conversation about this, which is cool, really cool.
It is, yeah. So thanks everyone for being a part of tonight. Thank you, Adaire.
Thank you, Matthew.
It was cool. It was very